All right, we're doing the lower control arms today. We're going to try to get both of them in. Just lowered the LR3 down and lowered took all the air out of the air springs using the nano column. So that's what it looks like with a lift and 275, 65, 18s all the way down to the bump stops. That's what it looks like. Okay, so I took off the brakes just to make everything a little easier to work around. I did take off the steering just because I'm gonna have to get it all aligned anyway. I painted, I'm about to mark that one. I did mark those. This is the dreaded one, so everything else has come off pretty easy. I was able to use this. I've got an air hammer, but I didn't even use the air hammer. I just used this spike to drive the bolts on through. So I'm about to do the dreaded one. This one's usually seized, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to cut it all out. Okay, so I got the lower control arm almost all the way out. I got to cut this side off. I just hacked it off a little bit. I found it easier just to take the brakes off, take the hub off. That way you can just take the whole knuckle off. Just easier access. So I'll just put everything back nice and neat, and hopefully this saw can get cut this bolt out. All right, so I got it out. Use that to cut the bolts. Took me 2 blades. So snap the first one, got the first one bolt out pretty easily. Snap the blade, cutting the second one, so I'm on my second blade. So go ahead and get yourself 4 blades just to make sure you can always return them, and start putting everything back. All right, so I got the lower control arm on, the knuckle. So I'm putting everything at 18 3/4 inch from here to the top. I'm gonna put the hub on, then I'm gonna tighten everything up once I get there. I always kind of wondered how these work, but if you notice right here, there's a nub that doesn't let that thing move. So just line up the lines, and I'll have to get it aligned, but we're making headway. All right, second one's coming along. About an hour and a half. Take it off, and I've gotten this far back together. So I should be able to get it back together in about another hour. So not too bad. Definitely just go ahead and buy 4 blades to cut those back bolts out. 1 for each cut. Unbelievably how it's fused on. Get the other bolts out, not that hard, not that big of a problem. Definitely think it's a lot easier just taking the whole knuckle off there. Pro tip here, if you are hanging the brake caliper and you want to get it out of the way, make sure you take it out of that position. Let it hang freely when you're raising the control arms to that 18.34 inches. When you set that that dimension to tighten the bolts on the lower control arms. So again, that's 18.34 inches from the middle of the axle to the bottom of the wheel arch up top. So that's the geometry it needs when you tighten it up. But as you can see, mine was right there, stuck there. So when I was raising it up, it would kind of bottom out and never got it to the right angle. Then I realized what I had done, and luckily I did not do any harm to my brake caliper, and I got it out of there, then readjusted the jack and got it to the right angle before I tightened everything down. Okay, doing a little recap on the lower control arms and some tips. Some tools I think you need. A mallet, a big mallet to shock the ball joints. I thought I was going to need a air hammer. You really don't need the whole hammer. I did buy one, but it didn't do me any good. And I'll explain in a minute. But if you just get the spike that goes with an air hammer, that's really all you need to push some of the bolts out, whether it be from the shock or from the control arm itself. Um, definitely beneficial. You are definitely going to need a half-inch swivel. This definitely came in handy. One of the things the other videos on YouTube don't show is the rear arm. So this is for the driver's side. This bolt is really close to the exhaust system, and there's really no way to get your anything on there besides the bolt. So having this on there is you have to have this. I definitely think you need a big impact gun. Definitely makes it simpler. Need a puller. On the workshop manual, it's got a different style. I like this one. It's very good. Still try to shock these. You can booger up the threads. Obviously that didn't matter because it was getting reused, but for the upper control arms, definitely don't want to mess up the bolts on the ball joints. Definitely go ahead and get yourself 4 new blades and a reciprocating saw. You will need to cut these out. So this is what it looks like. That's how bad the bolts fuse in there. So that's why you have to cut them out. Now there's a YouTube with RSW Solutions from years ago where the Land Rover shop was cutting this first and then getting a large blade. I only have a 6-inch, actually a 5-inch blade, so it took me little bit to cut that. But there's really no reason to do that. This is the passenger side. I did this one first. I thought I needed to cut it just to get a better angle at this, but you really don't need to do that. Just take a blade and cut there. So again, get yourself 4 blades. This one cut is you'll probably break the blade during this cut. So go ahead and get 4 cuts. The other side, the bolt just cuts right off. Pretty easy. Now as far as bolts, this is a 24 millimeter on both sides, and the shock mount is 21 on one side and 24 on the other side. So you definitely need a 24 impact socket, and you need a 24 wrench to hold it, and then you're going to need a 21 wrench to hold this side, but a 21 millimeter for this side and 24 impact socket for that. But that's what I learned. Need brand new fresh blades. This 24 and 21 millimeter impact sockets, gun, puller, and a mallet. So those are the tools you're going to need. One last note, mentioned it before, and all the other videos on YouTube mention it, but you will need an alignment. So after I got everything put together, the steering wheel is way off, so it'll need to get aligned.